Alright, so today we're building WhatsApp with full backend, real-time messaging front end, and we're doing it all from a single prompt. Or at least that's what I hope will happen. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to be using a platform called Blitzy. When they reached out to me, I did what you are probably doing right now, which is basically roll my eyes and think that, well, okay, another AI coding platform tool that's going to be revolutionary, that's going to do whatever. But I decided to look into it, and they really are doing something quite different. So first of all, they've managed to do one thing that I've not seen any other AI company do yet. Blitzy understands your entire enterprise code base. It spends up to a couple of days just ingesting and understanding your code base. It then produces what they call a detailed technical spec, essentially a 200-page document that essentially maps out every dependency, every architecture decision, every flow in your app. And only after it's done that is when it actually starts building and doing stuff. And when it does build, we're not talking about small little changes. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of lines of code from one single prompt. And in some cases up to like 3 million. So yeah, they really are doing some things quite differently, and that's why I decided to accept their offer, but only if I was allowed to really put it to the test. And they agreed, so that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So I wanted to throw something quite serious at this to do a proper test. So not just a to-do app or a landing page, but we're talking about a full WhatsApp clone with real-time messaging, user authentication, chat rooms, message history, the works, from one single prompt. And personally, I genuinely doubt that this will be possible, but the team over at Blitzy have assured me, or they seem very confident that it will be able to do this. As I'm recording this right now, I have not sent the prompt yet, so I genuinely don't know if this is going to work or not. Okay, so here we are inside Blitzy, and the first thing that you do is you create a new project and give it a name. I'll call this one WhatsApp clone. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to write a prompt for this WhatsApp clone. And the way that I did it was actually worked with a member of the Blitzy team that helped me write this prompt. It was also my first time using the Blitzy platform, so we didn't want to limit ourselves to my ability to write a good prompt, which would not have been good, to be honest. Now, it's not very hard to learn how to write a good prompt for Blitzy, so you'll be able to learn that in a short amount of time. It was just that we wanted to give ourselves the best opportunity possible for this video. And here's what the final prompt actually ended up looking like. We specified the tech stack to be React on the front end, Node.js on the back end, WebSockets for the back end, a database for messaging persistence. I outlined the core features, user registration, logging with authentication, real-time messaging, blah, blah, blah. We also connected it to a WhatsApp Figma file that we created, which is basically the WhatsApp screens, so that we actually have something to connect it to in Blitzy that it can look at and reference for how to create the app. But that's basically it. So now the prompt is in, and I guess the only thing to do is to press send, or create plan is what you actually press here. And then I guess we just wait and see what happens. So it's been a total of, I started running this on Thursday last week, and it is Wednesday today. I think it finished sometime this evening, or last night, I mean. It's been running a while, which is interesting and gets me kind of excited or curious to see what it's even done. So project guide, project overview, is a production grade horizontal scalable WhatsApp clone web application. Full monorepo completed backend API, full front-end application, database layer. I'm not the most technical. I can get some stuff done, but I'm not the most technical. Like, this seems very, very detailed. Remaining gaps. The 32 remaining hours of work fall into verification. End-to-end. Okay, so basically just testing the product, I think. Environment setup. Okay, this is actually really good because I don't know how to run this. Like, I think it's using, because it would have created a backend server. Like, it doesn't actually use a backend server that already exists, like something like Firebase, Supabase, stuff like that. It probably could if I would have prompted it to, but what it's done is basically built everything from scratch. So that means that we're going to have to use Docker, which I've never used in my life. So just running this will be a little bit of a challenge for me personally. So we'll see. Okay, so I might have to install some things. Docker. All right, so this is going to be a little bit interesting. Here's the GitHub repository, we basically just merged it. It was an empty Git repository to start with, and it created all of this. And basically it has one single command, bootstrap. So git clone, you clone this repository, and then cp blah, 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 docker compose up, and that is all. On first boot, the system automatically, one, starts a PostgreSQL 16 and whatever this is, Redis containers, waits for database readiness, runs all Prisma migrations to create a schema. This is the one that I thought was interesting. So it seeds the database with the deterministic demo data, so users, conversations, messages, and valid ciphertext, encryption key bundles. And then it starts an Express API server Next.js front end, bull MQ worker backup server. I don't even know whatever. I haven't been doing, like, I use Flutter most of the time and very simple stuff compared to this. As you can see here, I don't know what this even means, but it should be just the one command then to get the app up and running. So then access point front end, we can go to the front end, and this should be, okay, wait. That's actually really good just seeing that, but before we go there, I want to open all of them in different windows. So we're going to start with the API, open like a new tab, health check. I mean, there's a health check, that's pretty cool. So this is health, data status healthy, version, blah, 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 uptime 67. So we can probably reload this. So it says uptime 67. If we reload that, yeah, so that changes. So it's now 143. And then this is the actual app. So we go to localhost 3000, and then we get to this place where we can log in. I don't know if we have to type in an actual number here, so we're gonna try to just do 4999999. Done. Okay, and then we get into this page. We have a settings page. It actually, I mean, it looks good. Hey there, I'm using WhatsApp. Okay. Chats. We can clear chats. We can archive chat. We can delete. I mean, it's taken the Figma files and it's basically just replicated the entire design here, where everything is clickable, everything works the way that you would expect it to work. You can see like all of this stuff, like it's gotten so far in this amount of time, and it feels very complete. I mean, I can change my username, I can change my number, I think. I can change whatever it says here. The way that it's set it up so that you just have to run this and then everything will work. One of the main things that I was worried about, because I knew that it was going to use a lot of different software to get this done. So I didn't know if I was even going to be able today to run this, or if I was going to be able to have to like contact some people that know better than me. It's all here, like it's documented everything, and literally just ran one command and everything's up and running. So the only question is, how do we find other users? Like, should they have shown up here? I'm not really sure. So I'm gonna actually have to ask the team at Blitzy, because I think that there might be something that I'm doing wrong, because looking at it, it seems very complete, to be honest. All right, so I'm back again, and now what I've found out is that there is actually users and seed data available in the app. It's just that it's in the backend, so it's existing in the database, but it's existing via, I think it was, let me have a look, because they sent me a message. The seed data is present in the code base and would need to be converted to phone number login instead of email. The backend is set up to handle either, but UI only works with phone number login instead. So yeah, that is essentially the situation right now. All right, so I've now gotten a response from the Blitzy team, which means that they've also written a refine prompt. So we're going to send this, and then hopefully after that we'll have the seed data in place. So let's have a look. All right, so here is the prompt. Apply 5 targeted bug fixes to the WhatsApp clone. 1, fix login page to use email plus password form. Fix seed data, auth credentials, message content, and image media URLs. I don't know, we have a lot of stuff here. So it's 6 pages of a prompt. And I guess we'll just copy this. All right, and then we just paste the prompt. So we'll paste that in here, and then we'll let it run for a few days and come back to it, see what happens, if it does in fact have the seed data, if it's worked out how to do the things that we need. And yeah, I'll be back in just a couple days and we'll see what the result is. All right, we are now back and the code has finished running, or Blitzy has finished running. And so this is the review, or like the project guide that it has created afterwards. This project delivered 5 targeted bug fixes, 9 directed blah 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 to the WhatsApp clone monorepo, ensuring the Docker demo stack operates without errors, fixes addressed, key accomplishment, login page replaced, phone number, keypad UI fully replaced with email plus password form, post blah blah blah, demo credential hint. But we're just going to merge this, and because what we're doing now is not working on a project that is super important in the project. The actual thing that we're doing is we're just testing Blitzy to see what it can do. All right, and now we're running it again, and this means that we might be able to do this. Okay, so now we have this. Demo credentials. Sign in. Now here we go. This looks better. We can actually see some of the chats. So if we press that, we get into the chat and we can see the messages that have been sent, which are nonsensical, but that doesn't really matter. And then we can type in hello world and then send it. It has now been sent. And so yeah, I guess now it actually does work. It updates the notification too, to say, like, it says that we have 2 unread messages here. So if we press that, we then get into the chat, and then when we get out of it, the indication that we haven't seen the messages is gone. On the settings page, we can check our profile. We can see our number is this. What I'm thinking that we can do, can we open up another window? Okay, yeah, we can. And now let's try what happens if we just use another thing here. So Holden @gmail.com, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 QH exclamation mark. Okay, so now we can't create an account, but That's pretty simple to add, I think. If it's able to do all of this stuff, it would be pretty simple to add. What I wanted to do was I wanted to check if we can actually send messages between two users, which is now not something that we can do quite yet in this, but I mean, it's still pretty, all of the components are there. I want to be honest about this stuff and say that it definitely isn't completely finished, and it's not something that's not going to require a developer to take a look at and actually kind of guide it through until it gets to a finished product. But what we have is we have the architectures fully done. We have a tech spec that's very like in depth. We have like, there's so much stuff that's just been done for us. The core features are already there. Basically what that does is it shifts the role of the developer from being someone who actually creates these things to being more of a managerial role, where it's like you're looking at it, you're reviewing it, you're polishing it, and then you're actually able to ship it. And I think that this works similar to how I believe the Industrial Revolution worked, where it didn't replace what was happening, like it did probably in a lot of cases, but the main result of it, or the outcome of it, is larger production. Like you could produce a lot more. So that's how I kind of view all of these AI tools in general. It allows you to produce a lot more and a lot faster. And that's why I don't think it's going to replace developers, because you still need a developer to be able to look at this stuff and understand it and know how to even prompt it. Because there's so much stuff that you don't know when you're not a developer. I have not tried not being a developer and trying to build stuff, because I am a developer and I know a lot of stuff. Like I think I'm kind of the perfect level when it comes to using AI for this sort of stuff, because I know enough about the details of things that I could actually build it on my own, but I'm not advanced at it. I haven't worked as a back-end or full-stack developer for years and years in different companies, learning and developing my skills to be like super efficient at it. But I know enough to be able to actually do it and get it done. And that means that using these AI tools, you can become so much quicker with completing things when you have that sort of base knowledge. And it's not hard to get the base knowledge that I have, but even looking at it, when you see the prompts that the Blitzy team wrote for me that helped out, like they have way more technical skills than I have. So what they're able to create in terms of the prompts is just so much more complete and so much more full, if that makes sense, where they're able to predict some of the problems, they're able to even explain the structure, the architecture, how it should be done. And with something like Blitzy, that allows you to actually create something that's very full and very complete in the end. Whereas using things like Claude Code, which I've used, you basically end up with a problem where it's not able to keep the entire code base in mind. So what it will do a lot of times, it will forget that it's written a file back in like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago that it could now reuse for this new feature that you're building. It increases the possibility that we'll introduce some like bugs and things like that in the code base, because it just adds new features, and adding a new feature has the potential of increasing or introducing bugs. So is Blitzy the most advanced AI platform out there? As far as I can tell and what I've seen here, it does seem like it genuinely is in a league of its own, like it's doing things that I haven't seen anything else do. Mainly to me, it is the deep context that it has, the fact that it actually looks through your code base, the existing code base, and just the sheer scale of what it can actually produce in one single go, like from one single prompt. Nothing else that I've used really comes close to it for a project of this size. So I highly recommend checking it out. There'll be a link in the description. And they do have a free tier, so you can actually play around with it, test it out without fully committing to the software. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.